Folding phones are so cool. From the small flippy ones where you could do like, and look so cool while taking a call.
But what's good about it though?
Oh, look at me, look at how cool I am. To the folding phones, which give you a way bigger screen to read on.
The panel is bigger.
Yeah.
It's easier for us to read. Yeah.
When I edit my interviews, I edit them in Google Sheets.
Okay.
So that's actually better for me to have a bigger screen.
For me, because I'm a woman, we also usually have a handbag.
Yeah.
So I would prefer that one. Yeah, so you just put it in your pocket.
I've met my people.
I'm good. Like, okay, they can fold, but so what?
Okay. Never mind. Well, Daniel, the data prove you're wrong. This year, there were 1.5 times more folding phones sold than last year. What more could you ask for? Well, I really wish that the phone could be a little bit smaller and that the screen could be bigger. But that's just not how it works. You can't make it bigger than double the size of the phone. There's just no way.
NANI?
Huh. Huawei's CEO, Richard Yu, was spotted on a flight with a three-way folding phone. Rumors are flying around that they might become the first company to ship a three-way folding phone in September. So why is Huawei pushing for this technology? You'd think it would be Samsung, right? The first company to ship a folding phone that would ship a three-way folding phone. They even had a three-way folding phone prototype back in 2022. And here, look at this graph from Counterpoint. They had a 58% market share in folding phones. This just makes no sense. And oh, this is a folding phone graph. There's another bar to this chart, and as you can see, Samsung has fallen a little bit. Last year, we talked about how all these cool folding phones you would have wanted to buy were all exclusive to China. This is the Oppo Find N2 Flip, and you probably can't buy it. At the time, Samsung was basically the only game in town if you lived outside of China. As you can see from this year, they have competition. From Honor's Magic V2 becoming the most popular folding phone in Western Europe, to Motorola's Razr becoming quite popular in North America, Chinese brands have expanded abroad, giving consumers a lower priced option and competition to Samsung. Huawei had a smash hit with the Mate X5 in China, and it is a pioneer in folding phones. It released the Mate X only days after Samsung's Z Fold. Most folding phones are sold in China, and wouldn't you know it? That's their turf. On the contrary, commentators have described Samsung's latest folding phones as unexciting, and their market share kind of reflects that. Chinese brands have been quite innovative at pushing forwards thinner phones or new formats.
Actually, I worked for Motorola for many years. Even at that moment, we have the folding phone. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Motorola is the pioneer of the folding phone.
Yeah, no, they were one of the first to
Yes.
But setting aside the bragging rights of being first, making a three-way folding phone is really hard. Compared to a regular folding phone, you have two hinges that need to be thinner than the one you'd have on a regular folding phone. You'd also need to split up the battery and other components into 3 pieces instead of 2, have a higher cost display, and of course, higher cost customer service because this is a first-generation product. For Samsung, who, for a multitude of reasons, doesn't have a large market share in China, maybe they've just considered that it was not worth it to develop that product in terms of costs. Contrast that with the buzz that is around Huawei. Huawei being the #1 spot, having cheaper folding phones, and taking the technical lead with that three-way folding phone, it definitely gives them a competitive advantage. For as you might have guessed, it's not all just advantages to having folding phones.
That's not a folding phone, is it? Okay.
I wish. It's also very expensive. Not only is it expensive to purchase, but it's also quite expensive to maintain. God forbid you go to the beach and get some sand in between the hinge. Another roadblock for potential folding phone enthusiasts. All of these phones are Android phones. So are you thinking about upgrading to another iPhone?
I think so.
If Apple made a folding phone, would you want it?
It depends on the price.
That's true.
It depends on the selling price.
Yeah. Folding phones are great for geeks like me who like to push every little bit of power out of the devices that they have. Unfortunately for me and for phone makers who'd like to sell these very expensive phones, not everyone feels that way. Cool.
Okay, I get the appeal for that. Personally, I think I would just use a laptop if I need a bigger screen, right? But maybe one day.
I prefer the older ones, less distractions.
Okay, like the simpler regular phones.
Yeah.
What are you concerned about? Fiddling with the opening or?
No, the social media. Just don't like it that much.
Hey, that's a healthy relationship to your smartphone. I think I could do with more of that. If you want to see more from our lovely interviewees, check out last week's episode about the biggest phone maker you've probably never heard of. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to catch next week's episode. And until then, I guess you'll just have to take care.